Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. I'm your host Mick Lennon and this is episode 3, the review. We're going to talk a bit today about the European Champions Cup pool. Obviously we're going to talk about the Harlequins game and all the details surrounding that. We're going to talk about the team lineups. We're also going to talk about Raiko Ioane finally starting for Leinster. And then we're going to finish off with a bit of information around the Rugby World Cup draw and what it means for us in Pool D. Okay, so the European Champions Cup pool, we're going to do a little refresh here just in case anyone has forgotten about our pool here. So we have Leicester Tigers, Harlequins, La Rochelle, Bayonne and Stormers. So this weekend's game is against the Harlequins. We're going to get into a bit about the details on that. The pool itself, could be quite tough. I know La Rochelle are in a bit of a slump at the moment. I don't know exactly what's going on over there, but they seem to be a bit stuck at the moment. Bayonne as well, not a bad team. We also have Stormers there, which we know are flying through the URC at the moment. So they're one of our biggest competitors in this pool, I'd say. As well as that Leicester Tigers always give us a good game. I'm not, and a spoiler alert for the rest of this episode, I'm not too concerned about the Harlequins. Don't hate me, Harlequins fans. You're a good fans, and we do like it, but I'm not too concerned about that one. Without further ado, let's get into some details of the game. The kickoff is at 5:30. It's in the Aviva. We have referee Craig Evans. If you remember, he's the Welsh referee, and he was also the assistant referee against the Dragons last week. So we know he's able to help out in very tough decision making. I'm not going to go over it again. Where you can watch it, I guess really in the Aviva, and I say that because it's actually not covered by RTE or any domestic channels. It's actually only on Premier Sports. All 4 games actually on Saturday are being hosted on Premier Sports. So yeah, that's the details of the game. Let's get into the lineup. Okay, first and foremost, we're going to start off with Leinster. So, pretty good team coming out here. We're trying to make a statement, I'd say, and I'm not entirely sure if we'll beat them 62-0 again, like a clean sheet, but with this team, we're going to make a fair big dent in it. So let's get started. Our props on Saturday are Paddy McCarthy and Thomas Clarkson, 2 big men. We've Dan Sheehan back for the hooker there. Dan Sheehan doesn't need any introduction there. He's a fantastic player. Well, an interesting one actually here with the second row. We're starting RG Snyman, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. I think I had a couple of discussions online with some people there, and I'm not entirely sure if I like starting him. I think he's a fantastic impact, so it's nearly scary seeing that man come on when you're already tired. Again, second row there, we've Big Joe McCarthy's actually playing alongside his younger brother Paddy there now, so that's fantastic to see. Jack Conan, obviously our flanker, our other flanker Josh van der Fleer. I'd love to see that. Caelan Norris is our captain and obviously our number 8. Jemison Gibson Park again, scrum half. Out half then, Sam Prendergast, great to see it. Pity for Harry Byrne there. I think he's actually playing some pretty good rugby, and his kicking game was pretty good the last few times. On our wings then, we actually have Jordan Larmour and Tommy O'Brien. Centre then we have Frawley and Ringrose, and our fullback is Jimmy O'Brien. So actually 2 other brothers now starting. So that's 2 sets of brothers playing on the pitch. I love to see it. Our replacements then we have Kelleher, Boyle, Furlong, Mangan. Great to see him on the bench there as well. Max Deegan, McGrath, Byrne, and you're waiting for this the whole time, Raiko Ioane and our utility back. You'd love to see it. Maybe Sexton wouldn't love to see it, but I love to see it. So just jumping straight into, I guess, the other lineup, we actually don't have a confirmed lineup from the Quins. I think they might be a little bit afraid. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you a best prediction, I guess, and it's kind of going to be based off of the Gloucester game. They lost, I think, 24-14, or maybe I'm slightly incorrect, but their score, but they lost against Gloucester there. But their team seemed to be fairly packed out, and it was their standard team. So let's get into that. We're going to have Marcus Smith, obviously, in number 10. That's standard. You're not going to have a team without him. Porter there will be their scrum half. I think their wings possibly is Grown Murley. Their centres Evans and Baird. Baxter and I'm going to butcher this now, but Lamastelle as the props. I'm sorry, Lamastelle, if that's not how you pronounce it. Walker as their hooker. Treadwell and Lewis as their locks. Cunningham, South and Dombrand as number 8. Sorry, Cunningham South and Dombrandt as their number 8, and then Dombrandt is actually their captain. So yeah, if they haven't picked up any injuries, and I haven't seen anything online about any injuries from their Gloucester game, I think that's a fairly good prediction of what they might produce on the day. Some previous games there for the Quins. Yeah, if you were at Croke Park, I think it was actually this year, wasn't it, in April? We actually bet them 62-0. Wasn't a very good game for the Quins. No team wants to come out and get clean sheeted like that. And I was at that game, and I was out on the front for when the buses came in for the Sea of Blue, and the fans are actually fantastic for the Quins. They actually were out with a drummer. They were chanting their whole way down the street, following the bus. It was fantastic. It was lovely to see. Unfortunately, they weren't shouting too much. I'd say about 15 minutes in, I think we scored about 2 tries by then. But look, it is what it is for them. The time before that we played them was like 2014, so I'm not even going to go back that far. There's no point. The team was completely different. So yeah, that's the lineups, and yeah, let's just we're going to talk a bit more now about the Rugby World Cup. So first and foremost, I have to say, the first game of this Rugby World Cup in 2027 is going to be electric. It's Australia versus New Zealand, the way the draw has come out in Perth, and I mean that is going to be amazing. What a perfect fitting start to a Rugby World Cup down in Australia, with New Zealand starting against them. I think it's going to be stellar rugby. It's going to be perfect for the telly. Might be a bit late for us to be watching it, but I'll definitely be staying up for that. So yeah, we're in Pool D, and if you've watched the draw, you'll know our teams, but I'll give a refresher on that. So for the third time in a row, for pool games for Rugby World Cup, we actually have Scotland. I don't know, we can't escape them, and they can't escape us. But I actually quite enjoy playing Scotland. It's quite an enjoyable watch. So we have Scotland, we've Uruguay, and we've Portugal. So what does this mean for us? I'm going to go through 3 possible scenarios. The best possible scenario and best case scenario for us is that we top the table. If we top the table, we end up playing the round of 16 against one of the best of the third place teams in BE and F. And that would most likely be Georgia or Italy, depending on how they go there. But I think it's pretty much going to be one of them. If we beat them, then we're actually in a quarterfinal against Argentina. And I don't want to put the commentator's curse on us here, but hopefully it's not the same. I think it was back in 2014 when they shocked us. So I just hope we actually get through that. But that's pretty good. I think we can top our table, round of 16, standard rugby there, and then we have to play a hungry Argentina if we get into the quarterfinals there. Then if we beat Argentina, we could possibly meet England in the semi-final. So we could end up breaking the quarterfinal curse and then having to play one of our biggest rivals in the semi-finals if all things play out there. And then, we could be in the finals. So now I actually have to talk about the worst possible case scenario. Well, the worst possible case scenario is actually we don't come third. We're sent home before the round of 16. But look, let's be real here, that's not going to happen. But if we do come third, we will end up having to play South Africa in the round of 16 and then possibly New Zealand in the quarterfinal. That would be a disaster. So let's just hope we never talk about that again. That'll never happen. Let's just forget about it. Don't bring it up anymore. The worst probable case scenario here is that Scotland get the better of us. We come second. If we come second, the round of 16 game will actually be against France. So, teams we played lots of times, we're well used to them. A fantastic team still. I wouldn't say that was an easy gig for us, but one that we know how to play. Then in the quarterfinal, and look, if there's any Welsh fans out there, I'm sorry, I don't think you're going to be in the top 3 runner-ups. I actually think it'll probably be Fiji or Tonga. So yeah, there we go. That's probably all the scenarios that we possibly could get. Obviously, we want the best case scenario there. We want to top the table. We want to play Georgia or Italy in round of 16, and we want to play Argentina in the quarterfinal. And I think, honestly, that has to be one of our best opportunities to make it to a semi-final in the Rugby World Cup, and I think it's literally our best one. So let me know if you think it is our best chance. Let me know if we're going to break the quarterfinal curse, and let me know your predictions of like maybe the scores that we're going to see, the points, maybe some shock factors. Will Scotland beat us? What'll happen? All right, yeah. Thanks so much for joining me. That's today's preview. Hopefully we'll see you in the Aviva, but if not, I'll have the review of that game out on Sunday, and hope you're ready to listen to that. And come on, let's get the Quins a good game, and hopefully send them home 62-0 again. Thanks for listening, folks.